Today we're discussing my favorite cowboy comic, Alanzo Sneak by Nate Garcia. Hey comic fans, welcome back to Dangerous Comics. I'm your host, Dane Georges, and today we're looking at Alanzo Sneak by Nate Garcia. So this was printed and published back in June of 2021. I actually have a second edition. This book kind of sold pretty quickly. It's also kind of became a hard to find book. I wanted to highlight this because Nate Garcia actually did just recently do another printing of a lot of his work, and he's hosting it on his website. And I'm going to put a link to that work in the description below, but if you have been wanting to pick up Nate's work, now is a great time to do it. He is putting out new printings of a lot of this stuff that became increasingly hard to find and was going for kind of high prices on eBay, so now is the time to grab it. But I really wanted to highlight a really cool cartoonist, a young cartoonist that really just gives me hope for what comics can be and what they are, and just kind of like approaching comics in a way that's very different than how I see comics. And I just think Nate's lens and his style and just like the way he sees and makes comics is very unique and very cool, and just gives me hope for where comics can go and are going. This is just a really fun, unique book. Let's try to hide the end. I don't want to give it away yet, but there's really cool, he's got some mail, and then also just highlighting some of his other work back here. But some of these I think have now been reprinted on his, and you can find them on his site. So definitely check him out. This comic kind of blew up a little bit because George Lopez actually reposted one of the panels where Alanzo is sleeping and watching the George Lopez show. So, this is George Lopez's favorite comic. If that's not enough to make you buy it, you gotta check it out. But we get a really cool caricature of the artist, Nate. And, he made this when he was 19 years old. This was back in 2021. So, it's a few years older now, but oh my God, I wish I was making comics like this when I was 19. But we get a little bit of a cast. And then we have the bad guy is Goody 2 Buckle and his brother. But kind of like a little synopsis of everything here is kind of just the whole thing is that there's these bad guys going out trying to get, they're like meat hunters, and they're trying to maybe eat Alanzo and his horse. But so the whole kind of the premise is, and it's really cool, kind of one page synopsis of kind of all of this almost. So I love Alanzo saying, high-heeled elk skin booties like the ones on this cheeky bug ain't nothing but flash. Big boots, bigger problem. Big sneaks, and then just, oh my God, the locomotion and the motion of all this is so great. It's so cartoony. So he's pushing off, jumping back and cracking this guy in the face. But big sneaks, nothing but efficiency. So we got a cowboy that wears sneakers, and I think that's such a cool idea for a character. And so he's going up against these guys. Sure takes courage wearing these sneaks around these blood clots, but me. And then so jumps up again. So the sneakers just make him very limber, very movable, and kind of just able to jump around, unlike these guys wearing their stiff boots. He's able to jump up, blam, blam, blows this guy's head off. But I just love this, the juxtaposition and contrast of this kind of cartoony character design, and how these guys are standing back there, bow-legged cowboys, and then this kind of gross up close up of this head just exploding, and the black ink is the blood and everything. I love that we've got an independent eyeball, and then just an eyeball that's fully attached with the eyebrow still on it. Oh my, so freaking good. Just blam, and explodes. All the ears are flying. Oh, so good. Yeah, so he kills all these guys, marching away. He sees that there's some cash in his back pocket, so he grabs it, and then him and Sheena are gonna eat good tonight. Get a whiff of her pony morning breath. I love that face too. Just there's so much animation and so much great emotion and emoting in all these faces and characters, and I just love how things can change panel to panel. Like this kind of design for the horse into here, where the eye is smaller. There's not like as big of a nose. It's just so good. It's like you're just kind of making things fit compositionally, but that kind of panel to panel breaking is just something that is so unique to what you can do in comics, right? Like you can't do that in the same way. You can do that in animation, but maybe not like moment to moment. So they get on their horse. Another just great face, kind of like Clint Eastwood kind of face there. There's somebody, these two mysterious figures watching them, and it says, "Goody, check out the meat on that there pony." Love that. Love that cross hatching that's in here to give us that shadow, like the bushy eyebrows. But love this kind of contrast, and then into this too. Like that horse. I love it. I love it so much. So they get to this place, Big Mama's, and we got a burger and milk advertised. At least I think it's milk. But he jumps down, gonna get him some breakfast. And you know what's better than for breakfast than a burger? So jumps down. This is like squash and stretch is like something that is done in animation, and it's done so well here in this comic as well. Just like kind of like getting him down off the horse, how he goes, feet first. His heels are about to hit, and then he just hits, and the whole thing, like everything about him just squishes down. Even the hat squishes down with him, and then he pops back up and walks in, and he left Sheena on her own, and now these two characters are watching her all by herself. Great emotion there as well. Goes in. I love the character design on some of these like really creepy cowboys with our like innocent looking Alanzo. And he's getting judged right away for his sneaks. He's just a freak in this land of cowboys. Jumps up on the bar, gets 2 burgers and a root beer, baby. And the bartender's like, "Don't call me baby, sneaker ass." And so gets his name. He's gonna get it. He's dreaming about this burger and root beer and thinking about how much Sheena's gonna love it. He's kind of got this like. Kind of develops a little bit further in the other issues. He does. I think the follow-up to this issue is called Muscle Horse, and there's a little bit of a diving into this relationship between Alanzo and Sheena, and it might not just be friendly. They might be in love a little bit, but yeah. So thinking about her, getting her what she needs. He gets his order, goes out whistling, and then we get first little view of some snakes are going to come back in the story, but this is our first like view of like, oh my, there's some snakes out here. And it's not a snake in my boot, it's a snake in my sneak. But he sees it and he kicks it, and damn vipers, I hate them. And then Sheena, and something's happening. Kick. Oh, this face is so good. I love how like wide it is. We still have the hat is so big, but love just like his ears take up so much of space. It's so good. But get some good silhouettes as he's looking and sees that his dear Sheena is in trouble, and he's going to have to jump into action. And his poor girl, she's been punched up, kind of got like a black eye. And what are you guys doing? And this guy says, "Tenderizing the meat." He says, "Shut up, dipshit." And so the whole thing is that these guys are, we're both meat hunters, and we're both meat hunters for this here establishment. So they hunt meat for the place where he just bought burgers. So now we kind of get this like extra level to the story where like maybe the burgers that he just bought for him and his horse might be made of horse, and maybe other things. Like this is the Wild West, right? Like they're just getting meat where they can get it. So a little bit of maybe not the most ethically sourced meat, but so these guys are meat hunters. They're trying to trick him. He kind of goes in to shake his hand, and we see back here that he's pulling a knife on our boy Alanzo. But Alanzo can't be tricked so easily. Goes in, and he kicks this guy, knocks him down, pulls out the gun, and we get into a shootout. I love this action here where he jumps over the bullet, and then for the next blast, he is actually able to kick the bullet back at Goody Two-Buckle. And it goes back and just goes right through his hat. Get like a great cartoon hole in the hat. And now things might be heating up for our guys. And like, "You better run." And so he's like, "God, I gotta quit leaving my guns at home." But lucky for him, he's got his shoelaces. And so we kind of get that like, this guy, he's Alanzo's sneak, right? And his special power or ability is his sneakers. He's able to move quick, jump high, and now we've got this like established weapon of the shoelaces. So he's able to like make a big old lasso with his shoelace, and I love that there's just like a random light pole in the Wild West, like the desert. So funny. It's just like randomly there. It's like the most modern thing anywhere, but I love it so much. I love this drawing as well, just like how squat he becomes. It really reminds me of like a Robert Crumb drawing. So great though. I love just like it's such a great composition, because we had to make room for all of this lasso so you could kind of show how big it is, or just like really sell that idea of it, and then just bending Alanzo down to like fit where he can. And I think you just get everything you need in here. I love the fade with the zipatone in the background, and then really cool how it like, I also think it's funny that it goes from like being an actual lasso back to just being a shoelace, and then it goes and it like grapples up and he's able to swing. Love that drawing as well. So much great motion, and he loop-de-loops around, flips off, and he just stomps right on Goody and bounces off. Just like that. He jumps down and then bounces off, and then he's able to kick the brother off the horse and lands right on Sheena. Also, yeah, I guess this guy's name's Ray, so Goody's calling for Ray, and right when he does, Sheena steps on him. And this is such a great like upshot of both of these characters. I love like how big Sheena's nose is, big the sneaker is, and then Alanzo's face just looking so stoic, but still has the two gigantic ears. And they're telling never touch, you ever touch Sheena again, and I'll be frying your neck on my stovetop, K Goody? And then now, babe, spit. And then we get that call back to the morning breath. Now he's got that great morning spit all over his face. And then as they're going, Goody releases these two snakes out of his pocket, and those are going to come back. They kind of follow our heroes, and they wrap around Sheena and then wrap around and get into his sneaker. So now there's truly a snake in his sneak. And so long, sneaker boy. Goes home, and he's like making some eggs, gives them to Sheena. Such a great face, like kind of like he looks maniacal a little bit. She's still got her black eye, but looking at him with love. Don't know what I'd do if you were gone. Gives her a little hug. Oh, just so sweet. And he lives in this trailer. There's another like light post over here, so it's an established thing. There's just a few light posts throughout the desert. It's pretty great. I love like the movement in the cactus and stuff too. It's just such a great little panel. Night comes, and Alanzo is sleeping in his bed. We get like a poster that says Dad, so we get like a little bit of setup to his dad is also a cowboy, and this is where he's fallen asleep to the George Lopez show, which I think a lot of us, that we can relate to that, of like that being on late night TV. If you had like a sleepover, you would like fall asleep and maybe like the George Lopez show would be playing when you woke up at night, just on TV. But this was the panel, the set of panels that George Lopez actually reposted. It's a great caricature of him, so good. But kind of brought some extra attention to this issue when it was originally coming out. And so while Alanzo's sleeping, these snakes come out of his sneaks, and they come up and it like rubs over his crotch, and he starts to have like a very sexy dream about a lady, a tall, booted lady. And as he's like crawling up her, he's like looking up, and then her hair blows away, and the sexy lady has the face of Sheena. So he wakes up like screaming, and as he wakes up, he's being choked by the snake. And he's able to just rip it apart with his hands. But then we get the reveal that he wasn't quick enough, and he actually was bit by the viper. And I love this other we had the cartoony hole that happened because of the bullet, and now we've got the bite holes. It's just so good. Such good cartooning. And the poison is always kind of represented as these droplets with the dots in it. So really good way to use a black and white medium. But here's a screech from outside, and he looks out, and Sheena is now being tied down by the vipers, and we see Goody and Ray. And so he goes out there, and he's gonna have to save his horse. And he jumps up, and he's trying to stop him, but then Goody's saying she's already dead, and he looks, and we see two more of the cartoony holes on Sheena, and we get this really sad, dramatic moment as he's. I love the use of a different font as it becomes kind of like lowercase and a little bit lighter. But please come back, and then he turns his attention to Goody. You. And he's about to fight him, but then goes, shit, the venom, and then his face just puffs up, and he kind of gets all wobbly and just passes out next to Sheena. So what's going to happen? Looks like he's down for the count. And looks like we got ourselves a 2 for Ray. And so, like, I think that also is playing into, like, hey, maybe this the burgers that they're selling at that joint aren't just horse. They might actually be human as well. Because it sounds like they're going to take both of these people for the meat. So they start to celebrate, and as they do, Sheena wakes up in a last gasp, and I love the transformation here. Such a great drawing as she is like raging out. So good. I love the wobbliness of the mouth and the teeth, and like still kind of like getting all puffy, and the eyes are like setting back into the head. Sheena then gets up and just is like hulked out, got all the muscles, looks over, her boy is down for the count, and now they got some trouble. So she punches him in the face with her hoof, and just is like going absolutely crazy. And then we get this amazing splash as Sheena is chomping right on his face and ends up just actually ripping the head off clean and throwing it. And I guess Sheena doing this was enough to kind of work the venom out of her system, right? Like in the bite, we see the venom kind of coming out, and then it's like dripping off of her. So she kind of returns back to normal, and she sees that Alanzo's still down, comes over and actually sucks the venom out and spits it out, and he comes back. Sheena, you're alive. I'm alive, the venom. You sucked it out of me. And so then he sees the head, and he's like, brilliant job, girl. And then this guy's getting away. Ray's trying to get away. Now, Raymond, not so fast. And then this like cheeky little smile between them. And then we get this like Inglourious Bastards reference. He uses his shoelace once again to light up the tip. And then he uses it to kind of like brand Ray's head and ends up writing horse killer on his forehead. He said, this might just be my masterpiece. But I love the different interpretations of his face in these three. So good. So that is this issue. I really need to check out Horn Rim as well. I've got the second one of this, and then I know he's also done not Alonzo. Nate Garcia has also done like Plum Pocket. He's got a good amount of work, and now is a really good time to check it out. I'll put his site in the description below, but order from him. If you have a cool comic shop, maybe they have some of these on consignment and stuff as well, but Nate's work is amazing. You cannot go wrong picking up one of these issues. There's also this Cowboy Hank strip that's included here. If this is what Nate is doing at 19, I cannot wait to see what he's got going on in the coming years. So I'm really excited for where comics are going. I'm excited for young talent like this to continue making comics, and I can't wait to check out more of Nate Garcia's work, and I hope you guys do as well. So this has been Alanzo Sneak by Nate Garcia. And if you want to support my work as well, I am also a working cartoonist, and you can check out my self-published work such as Doomskull, which is about an ex-supervillain that works at the grocery store with his minion Bag Boy. I've got 3 issues of that published with a 4th on the way. And then I've also got 2 horror zines, The Passenger and Sleepless Sights. These are just kind of one-off horror stories, and this was kind of like a stream of consciousness kind of story, but yeah, got that. And then I've also got a Revenge of the Hollow zine, which was a successfully funded Kickstarter of Chicago comic artists that I was a part of, with a story about my character's Fish and Chip in there. And then I've also got X-Ray, which is a collection of my 4-panel web comics that I would post on Instagram and Tapastic and Webtoons and all that stuff. But yeah, you can find all this at DaneGeorges.com. You can also follow me at DaneGeorges on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Thank you for checking out the episode, and I really appreciate if you would like, comment, or subscribe. And remember, to think and read dangerously, and I'll see you guys in the next one.